What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and I get it. A lot of people are confused. We are at all-time high unaffordability levels. The new listings keeps increasing consistently month over month, year over year. Our inventory count is at 2016 levels, almost the same amount of inventory than we had 10 years ago. And if you look at the least amount of inventory that Charlotte has ever had, which was in 21 and 22, we are literally 6 times more inventory than we had at our lowest levels ever. However, prices are still going up. Everything that we talked about 3 to 4 months ago in regards to inventory hitting peak levels, surpassing 3 months of inventory, that has happened. We talked about the average sales price hitting a new all-time high. That has happened. We talked about the median sales price hitting a new all-time high. That has officially happened. And I hate to say this, I hate to break it to you, but if you're somebody, when we go over these stats, if you want decreases, price reductions all across the board, you're literally going to be waiting years for that to happen. Everything that's gone on has completely changed the real estate market. The whole shape of the economy and everything is completely different than it was. However, that's not to say that there aren't really good deals out there. You can find great houses at very good prices. I've seen houses sell 30, 50, over $100,000 below their listed price. Granted, it's obviously going to depend, and I'm not talking about multi-million dollar houses where sometimes you see that take place a lot more often. I'm talking about houses listed at 400,000, 500,000. Typically, they do need a lot of work, but that's to let you know that there's still a lot of houses. So you don't need to wait another 3 to 5 years for prices to go down all across the board. You need to know the areas, the neighborhoods, the zip codes, where you're looking at, and keep your eye on them, because I promise you, you will find something at a great price. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, we are gaining a lot of momentum, which means building up that inventory. But again, that is going to take a very long time to do so. Right now, we're in July. We're going to start seeing the new listings start to go down because we're getting out of that peak summer season. So new listings are going to start to go down. Inventory is going to continue to build, and then we'll be back next year. And the thing is going to keep happening year over year unless some dramatic changes take place. Now, for all of you out there begging for interest rates to come down because you want to buy, that's honestly not going to be the best course of action, because if we see the interest rates go down 0.5%, we're going to start seeing a lot more multiple offer situations happening, and you're going to start seeing a lot of houses sell a lot faster than they did. The reason I say that is because the Federal Reserve is expected to cut interest rates this September. Now listen, don't put too much thought into that, because they have said that literally over the last year, year and a half, and it hasn't happened. It remained steady and stable. But on another note, the chairman, Jerome Powell, might be resigning, and the president wants the interest rates to come down because he wants a booming market. Is this good or bad news for you? Obviously, it depends on your situation and what you're looking to do. But Sasha, why are the home prices in Charlotte specifically and the surrounding areas nearby, why do they keep going up? Charlotte was just voted in the top 10 most livable cities in the U.S. We have consistently been in the top 10, top 15 over the last couple of years. And with that as well, North Carolina just ranked the #1 state for business in 2025. And I believe this is our 3rd year in a row. So with this, you're having such a big influx of these big companies coming to the state, and especially Charlotte, because we are the hub. You guys know all the Fortune 500 companies that we have here in Charlotte. The migration is still very heavy. We're an inbound state. Yes, you do have a lot of people leaving, but you have more people coming into the state than you do leaving. And in most cases, it's people coming from more expensive states and cities. So when they come here, they can afford more house for their money. So when they look at the prices of certain things, it's a bargain to a lot of those people. So all of these different factors getting mixed together is what's causing our market to be very stable and what's causing us to start hitting these new all-time highs in regards to prices. Now, instead of having these double-digit jumps that we've seen over the last 5 years, I definitely think things will continue to slow down in regards to transaction volume. However, instead of us having 10+% of home appreciation per year, we're probably going to start having 2 to 3% home appreciation per year. Now, this is going to help a lot of people get those deals on those houses. But one thing that you need to consider is this. The number of homes delisted, meaning taken off the market, has jumped 47% from the previous year. And with a large percentage of sellers, 81% of sellers anticipate receiving the asking price that they're asking on their home when they list it on the market. So a lot of sellers, due to the rates, due to the refinance that they potentially did, they are not desperate to sell. 47%, if they're not getting what they want, they literally are just taking their house off the market. They're going to wait 6 months, a year, whatever the case is, and then put it back on the market and see what happens. And over 80% of sellers anticipate that they should be getting the price that they list their house for. Now, again, you can always price your house super aggressively. You can price it super high. Whatever your strategy is, all depends on your motivation to sell. And what I'm seeing has not changed at all. A lot of the houses that are selling super fast are the ones that are essentially overdone. They have newly updated bathrooms, kitchen, flooring, windows, backyard, everything like that. And the ones that are sitting a lot longer are the ones that are more on the original side from when the house was built. Newer construction houses that were built in the last 5 years, are having a tough time to sell because they're having to compete with new construction houses within their area. And right now we're seeing a lot of those neighborhoods that were built in the last 5 years have a lot of listings for sale and not enough buyers. With that being said, just a quick recap. If you're waiting for prices to go down all across the board, unfortunately, you're probably going to be waiting another couple of years. However, don't get discouraged. There's a ton of good deals out there to be had. Trust me, I'm seeing them almost on the daily. We'll see what happens with the interest rates. If they do an interest rate cut, interest rate drop, we could see things start to pick up. Typically seasonality is a really good indicator, but last season we had a lot of activity in the fall and winter. You guys know this. September through January, February is one of my favorite buying seasons because that's where I see a lot of good deals happening. With that being said, let's go hop into the stats. Let's hop into the numbers, the new all-time highs. And if you have any specific questions for me personally, you always know you can call, text, or email me anytime. Now let's get into the market report. In regards to new listings, we had 5,441 new listings in the month of June. That's a 1.8% increase from this time last year. And if you're looking at this chart here, you can already see we're going to start going down. You're still probably going to have year over year positive. However, we're going to see the new listings start to decrease as we head out of that summer buying season. Now moving on to pending sales, which came in at 4,169. That's a 7.6% increase from this time last year. Look at the 2 years prior, negative 9.5% in pending sales. Then we had a plus 1%. And this year we jumped 7.6%, which is telling you that there's still a lot of activity happening in the market. Even though the inventory levels are rising, it seems like for certain houses, buyers are being a lot more aggressive. And for a house that pops up on the market that has the same floor plan as a lot of the other houses in the neighborhood, if it's not perfect for what the buyer wants, they're just waiting for another one in the neighborhood that's similar to pop up. And when the right one does, they're jumping on it. Next up, days on market came in at 42, and that is a 35.5% increase from this time last year. This is a big jump as well. And in essence, like we talked about earlier, you see the high prices, the days on market, which is telling us houses are taking a lot longer to sell. But due to all the reasons Charlotte and the surrounding areas are so appealing, and sellers essentially don't really care. 50% of them almost, or will just take their house off the market if they don't get the price that they want. So we have a lot going for a push for price reductions. However, the sellers really don't care, and 80% of the time they're expecting to get their listing price. Average sales price just hit a new all-time high. Average sales price came in at $538,000. That is a 3.5% increase from this time last year. Our previous all-time high was at $522,000. Last month, in the month of May, we broke that at $525,000, and now we are over $13,000 more, and we have a new all-time high in the average sales price. Now, in regards to median sales price, you guys probably don't remember this. This was a video from 3 months ago. Take a quick look. There's a very good chance that we hit and or surpass the median sales price this month in the month of May, and then just like the average sales price, maybe even go to 410, 412, maybe even 415 by the time the month of June comes. With that being said, even the median sales price kind of took me back. I was off by $2,000. Median sales price came in at $417,000, a 2.7% increase from this time last year, and we have surpassed the all-time high for median sales price, upwards of $11,000. We knew this was going to happen. We should start to see the median sales price start to tick down as we're heading into the fall and winter. However, we still do have another 2 months left, so we'll see what happens in that regard. Now moving on to the percentage of the original list price received. This is for all my people that want to offer lower than what a house is listed for. Again, every house is different, so make sure you're pulling the most accurate comparable sales when doing so. Percentage of original list price received came in at 96.6. What this is telling you is that on average, you can typically expect to pay 3.4% below the listed price of a home. This is not a one-size-fits-all. We still have multiple offers happening. It's on a case-by-case basis. But the good news is when we were at the all-time high market, we were over 100%. We all know that people were offering 30, 50,000 plus on the regular for houses. Now, for the most part, with a couple outliers here and there, according to this, you can expect to pay slightly under the listed price of a home when you are officially closed. Now our last one, months of inventory, which came in at 3.2. That's a 28% increase from this time last year. The months of inventory is so interesting. As I said in the beginning of the video, we are over 6 times the amount of inventory than we've had when we were at our lowest point. We're at 2016 levels. We're at essentially the inventory that we had 10 years ago. And a lot of people don't realize this, but Charlotte was a hot market 10 years ago, and it's very reminiscent to what it feels like now, obviously besides the prices. We all know the prices have shot up like crazy due to a lot of things that Charlotte provides. I think the inventory is going to continue to grow. However, seasonality is going to play a big factor. But those people that are waiting for these big price drops or 10, 15% across the board, it's going to take years for that to happen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Any questions, comments, concerns, you guys always know you can call, text, or email me anytime. I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.